morning once again, and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Colvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. Proudly celebrating 10 years this year, Kim. Great, good to be back with you this week, of course. And we got Mitch Moss, Social Security specialist, retirement professional on the Haven team, who really focuses a lot on the topic of this segment, Social Security, and how it is a big part of retirement.
Absolutely. Well, this show, we're talking about the 4 aspects of your retirement that you never want to ignore. We've talked about stability and healthcare. Social Security is a really important one. But Mitch, I think most people don't ignore it. They just have a lot of misconceptions about Social Security.
I would definitely agree with that statement. Absolutely.
Yeah. So having said that, what do you think is the single biggest misconception that people have?
You know, it's taking it right away, and not delaying it. Do we say everybody should wait till 70? It really is dependent on what your whole situation is, right? Because just not working and taking Social Security isn't always a good option for a lot of folks.
Yeah. So let's walk through if somebody comes into the office and they sit down with you and they're 60 years old and they say, Mitch, what do you suggest? How do you come to the conclusion, how do you make decisions and help them make decisions about what's best for them when it comes to Social Security and to start drawing?
Absolutely. So when a lot of folks come in, it's kind of a singular option that they look at. They're just looking at, I'm going to just take my Social Security benefit, but it really entails, what other things do they have to coincide with Social Security? Do they have a pension? Have they saved well? What are their expenses? What are we trying to solve? There's a lot of things that I talk about. I kind of sum it up as milk, cheese, and eggs, the daily living things that you need, right? Can't live without, the food and the housing and those types of things. So what is Social Security going to cover? My goal is to get that to cover the majority of what your monthly needs are, right? Get that up as much as possible, because every dollar we take from Social Security is less a dollar we have to take out of, say, your 401k or your IRA, right? So we want to ramp that up. Then what I say is, we've got the milk, cheese, and eggs covered. What about the fun? Because I would rather be pulling money out of your 401k to go do cool things than just taking it out and putting gas in your car.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so a couple comes in, though, and they're trying to make decisions, and they're both going to retire, at 65. One of them has been really the breadwinner of the family for most of the time. Who draws first?
So typically when we look at that, it's the smaller benefit is going to be drawing first.
Okay.
Right? So the larger breadwinner is the one that we're going to try to max out as best we can, because what happens is if one of us unfortunately would pass away, the higher benefit stays and the smaller one drops off. So we know just by basic math that higher benefit is going to live on a lot longer than per se the smaller one.
Yeah. A lot of people are really worried, though, Mitch, that, I got to start drawing my Social Security the second that I'm eligible because it may go away.
Well, ever since the inception of Social Security back in, when it first came out, they've been talking about it going away. They've been making changes to the Social Security Administration. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not in legislation. I don't know. But, they're going to make changes to it. If they don't make any changes by, 2035, it's going to drop to 78 cents on the dollar, I think it is. But they're going to make changes, whether that be raising the age at which we can take Social Security, right? Because when you first were able to start Social Security benefits was age 65. Well, now for somebody like myself, born after 1960, it is now 67 is full retirement age, right? So things have definitely changed.
Sure. Kim, you and I have talked numerous times about the fear factor of the news. It's been highly politicized, that being Social Security, for many, many, many years. It's still here. My opinion, it's not going anywhere. Is there going to be changes, as Mitch mentioned? There has to be some changes, of course. But doing away with, they're not going to do away with. There's too many Americans that rely solely on it, which my opinion also is, I think some Americans, now I understand life has circumstances, life happens, and certain things that we don't control. But I think a lot of average Americans have relied too heavily on Social Security as an income stream to provide for all their retirement. And that just doesn't bode well for the golden years. It just really doesn't.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the myths that are, circling around Social Security. The first one being that it is not taxable.
So Social Security is taxable, especially at the federal level, up to 85% of that Social Security benefit will be taxable. State of Minnesota obviously has come out with some new changes over the last year or so. If you're a single person and your adjusted gross is under $78,000, no state tax on your Social Security. And if you're married filing jointly, under $100,000 adjusted gross, no state tax on your Social Security. But again, if you're over those thresholds, with a lot of people are when they start taking RMDs or things of that nature, it will become taxable at the state level as well. But there are some things in the works that have changed.
Okay. So you just said something that I think is important for people to understand. Another reason why people often need a partner in making all these decisions and keeping up to date. But there are times in your retirement life that you have to draw dollars from other locations. If you have, a 401k, if you have IRAs, blah, blah, blah. So talk about how that impacts your Social Security at those points.
Well, absolutely. Especially, just drawing money out of your IRA, which is your 401k type accounts, is all taxable income, right? So that's going to be added to your income base. That might push you above. We also have to be very conscious of where we draw these dollars from, as Larry's probably talked about through all these segments, is because of the taxes. Right. Is it going to raise my income level up for Medicare? Because Medicare is also a means-tested program where you have more income. So we really start looking at that and how we do it, keeping it down. And, taxes are taxes. We just have to navigate them at every corner.
Sure. Are you surprised, because I know that you join Larry in a lot of the educational seminars, are you surprised at some of the questions that people have and maybe, some of the myths and some of the misconceptions surrounding Social Security?
Well, any questions I consider a good question, right? Because we want to make sure that we're giving the education that we have, and it's the right education. And there's just a lot of misunderstanding, because it's the water cooler mentality, right? When you get close to retirement, you want to start asking all your friends and family what they've done. But when you really start digging into it, and that's what we do here at Haven, is figuring out, well, do we have other things here? Because when you ask these basic questions to somebody, they're just giving you a basic answer. And there's a lot more things we want to be covering.
Kim, it's why we teach a lot of educational classes. I encourage listeners to go to the Haven Financial Group website. You're more than welcome, whether you're a client or the public or you're listening, to come out to our classes. Education is where it all starts. But as it relates to Social Security, a study came out that 76% of financial advisors do not feel comfortable talking about Social Security. Well, we're at a retirement advisory firm, and retirement, for many people, the biggest income stream that they have in retirement is Social Security. So we're having this Social Security discussion in all of our meetings. And Mitch probably puts together more maximizing Social Security reports, a roadmap. Client, if you're listening, come on in and have a discussion, and you'll walk out with that. It's very helpful, kind of a good, better, best as to when you claim it, because ultimately it's your decision. I recently read a new study that the average American leaves $182,000 on the table by turning their Social Security income stream at the wrong time. And I think every listener, the answer would be, if we were to deposit $182,000 into your retirement account, I don't think anybody's going to turn us down, but yet they make the wrong decision on when they claim Social Security.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's so important. And one of the things that Mitch said just a minute ago, it's a water cooler conversation, but your Social Security plan should not be a water cooler decision, because everybody's is different, correct?
Absolutely. That's totally correct. Because that's why I go through and I ask these certain pertinent questions, because you need to get a holistic kind of sense of where people are sitting. Because again, largest income stream, if you're not talking about an influx of $500 to maybe $1 million, married couple, of extra income throughout your lifetime, that's a lot of things to discuss.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, the way to discuss this is, number one, go to the website, right, Larry? Because you can go to your website, havenfinancialgroup.com, and check to see when the next time that Mitch and Larry are going to be teaching one of these Social Security classes. You don't have to be a client to attend, but they certainly do want some numbers. And if you'd like to sit down with Mitch, you'd like to sit down with some of the other Social Security experts there at Haven Financial Group, give them a call. It's 612-504 888-8400. That's the number. Let them know that you heard us here on the radio and that you'd like to come in, free consultation, and chat more about Social Security and your retirement. Mitch, thanks very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. This is the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.